All right, let's see if I have this on. Testing, testing. Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. It is Thursday, June 16th, 2022. Let's go ahead and get started and talk about the morning and overnight. What happened? Dow futures down 489 points, NASDAQ down 2.24%, S&P 3719 down nearly 2% off its lows. Russell down 1.97%, 1698. Crude oil down 0.59%, 112.39 a barrel. Gasoline futures are down 72 cents, still below $4, which is nice, $3.86. Gold is up 0.70%, 1832 an ounce. Silver up 0.93%. 10-year yields were higher, nearly 5%, 3.483% was the high. We are now at 3.399. Dollar index down about 0.5% this morning. So let's take a look at that chart. Breaking down. So at least we're getting some kind of reprieve from the overnight move. So I am pretty much exhausted. I got up at 3 in the morning. I saw futures and I saw we were tanking. Right at 3 in the morning is 2 or 3 in the morning is right when we started breaking down. Right around midnight, we were holding above 3,800. I had a S&P long there. That was my stop. So pretty much break even. I had it with 38.05 to be exact. But then we started flushing down. Right at 3 a.m., I was up and I was reading futures. The Swiss National Bank raised rates for the first time in about 11 years. That caused a spook in the markets. What does that have to do with us? Well, we also had Bank of England raise rates as well. So global tightening, we know that affects everybody. Again, pretty much the whole world in a sense is worried about inflation and recession. Not good for equities, obviously. What are the more global equities? Well, NASDAQ does have some global operations, as we know, big cap tech. But no one is going to be insulated from that, at least at the short term with that headline. Dollar yen down big time. Yen is reversing, 132.69. Euro dollar flat even after the BOE. Interesting. Bitcoin is holding up 21,300. Let's look at that chart. I used Binance this go around. I didn't log into Bloomberg this morning. I've been up since 3 and I've been working on my iPad and my phone. So I didn't log into Bloomberg, the actual terminal on my computer. So looking at it here, the fact that we're still holding up relatively better than the S&P is not a bad sign, to be honest. So again, we know that Bitcoin is the biggest risk proxy. Also kind of runs away or runs with the NASDAQ. The fact that that's higher, 21,276, at least on the short term, it's doing a little better than the S&P itself. That's a good sign. But again, we need to see where we go from here. The VIX, 3158, up 6.62%. Let's go to the charts. S&P futures. Now, I don't have any options trades open. I got out of everything. 3750, I'm looking for that break to the upside. Why am I looking for that? Possibly look at 3800 for the next level. Again, wouldn't want to go long here, but I still expect us to fill this gap here of around 3,900. I expected us to get that push overnight and then get closer, and then we filled this morning, but we didn't get there. So I'm still in the belief of we're going to get those gaps filled. I even tweeted that yesterday and put on Instagram that we still have 2 overhead gaps on S&P. The only problem is that we do have OPEX and quad witching on Friday. So volatility is still on the menu. We may not get this level this week. I expect us to get it very soon, possibly next week. So again, it really is just all about positioning here. Had a nice pump from the FOMC yesterday. Now we gave that back, hit new lows, 36.95, about 5 below 3,700. Let's see where SPX opens. Again, 3750 will be a key level for you guys. That'll be around 375 on SPY, and then you could possibly target 3,800. I would wait for 3,800 to break, but 3,750 is the key. In terms of downside, let's take a look at S&P futures. I'm looking at here at 3664.86. If that breaks, I may want to target 3,500, which is the 200-day on the weekly. I don't know if we get there today, but again, we do have quad witching, so we may get a shot to possibly get to around 3,500. A lot of moving parts, but again, we know the drill. Recession fears, tightening, higher rates, the dollar, all important. The reason that we're bouncing is the fact that yields are and the dollar are falling short term. In terms of, let's take a look here. There was one more chart I wanted to look at. Let's take a look at the VIX. Volatility index holding above 3150. There's a gap to fill right here at 2965. That might get us to 3800. Let's put an alert there and keep an eye at the sub 30 level, 2966 for a gap fill. We also have a gap to fill, at least to the downside on yields, right around 3160. So we're setting ourselves up for at least a short-term rally. We may not get it immediately, but I do believe that we'll probably jump a good amount, at least to 4,000, just to fill some gaps on S&P. That may be 4,000 may take a couple of weeks, but 3,900 I expect that by at least next week. So all of this right now today, yeah, some risk off the table, really some surprise news from central banks, but I still believe that we're still inching closer to oversold conditions, and then that causes a snapback rally. Let's answer some questions. Batia is asking, good morning, boss. Do you think 10-year yields, which is TNX, the Dixie, will stabilize next week or continue to go higher? I believe that with 10-year yields, we'll fill that downside gap here, 31.62. There is no gaps on the dollar that I see, at least on the hourly. On the daily, there is no gaps either. So I do expect them to fall at least by next week, yes, to push equities higher. What is a good price point for TTD for initial position? Well, this is the trade desk. I've read that some bloggers and some research firms like Motley Fool love the trade desk. I've seen the ads for them. We're sitting right now at the 200. Now we're on the daily. Now we're broke below. Really, the place you're waiting for to see if growth names or high beta growth is going to bottom. That's really what you're waiting for. Where could that be? That could be anywhere. But a good possible level is probably $31. That's a good support here on the weekly. So $31 would be a key level to look for if we get more downside. I wouldn't want to dip my toe in aggressive growth just yet because they're the most sensitive to rate hikes. And again, if we look at HYG, high yield credit, we do have a gap to fill to the upside at least. So maybe we get a little reprieve in stocks, a little reprieve in NASDAQ, a little bit of a bounce. But again, we need 3750 first. Then we need to get to 3800. 3800 will give us our next pivot point. 3897 is next. So pretty ugly action this morning. But I want to see how the macros hold up. If Bitcoin can hold up a little bit, maybe push a little higher. If yields can come back down a little bit, maybe HYG does bid, then I see this kind of at least getting halfway to where we want to be in terms of the S&P. Ending the day green would be nice, but again, tomorrow is quad witch, so tomorrow is a big day. How do you see oil companies in this market? Still bullish for next week. I am actually bearish on oil. I think oil rolls over. I think we get to around 105. XLE, XOM will provide good opportunities to short. Looking at XLE, we're not trading at 80.50. 80.22, if that breaks, I'm going to take a look at some puts. I think it's an opportunity to see. We're already seeing kind of commodities roll over in the short term. So, and start breaking out some levels. Again, oil, just like anything else, can overshoot to the upside. Wheat, all these commodities. I think oil is a good short. Short term, if I can get below 80.22, I'd probably short to around 76. Maybe take a look at the 75 puts for XOM, dependent on exactly if we have volume. But if I'm looking to short something, I do expect oil to at least roll over a little bit short term. Maybe get back to 95, not immediately. We do have the summer driving season, big spike in oil, as we know. But again, I'm already seeing it that we're rolling over a little bit. Look how high we were on oil. We were hit that peak of 123.68 in the last 20 days. Now we're at 112. That's $11 move. That's a big move on a commodity. They are moving pretty quickly, bouncing a little bit, but 110.28, that's a level to watch currently. SPY level downside today. Let's take a look. SPY here downside. We're going to go ahead and extend it here. We'll go to 2-year. Right now we're at 371.22. Your next support is 367.63 on the daily. That's your downside level. Another question here. Some thoughts on FOMC forward guidance. Well, you do have dot plots and everything like that, but I think it's kind of meaningless now. If the Fed is going to do whatever they want in terms of 75 points is off the table, and then we did 75 points again, what's to stop the Fed to do 100? This is where it gets interesting because now forecasting is for shit because you're not going to get anywhere. They're going to do what they want anyway, so kind of pointless to even kind of track it. All we could do is to really track the Fed's next move is CPI and PCE, which is inflationary data. If inflationary data gets better, they'll slow down on their rate hikes. If it doesn't, guess what? They're going to be more aggressive. That's just the environment they are. And is it a good idea? Absolutely. I mean, it seems that we're rushing in. We're going to push the poison pill, which is a recession, in order to kill inflation. Think of it as a cancer patient going through chemo. Even chemo is painful, but it's not worse than the cancer. So, for example, inflation being the cancer, and rate hikes are being the chemo. I wish I had a better analogy, but because that's a very serious disease. Obviously, I know a lot of people have gone through cancer. I've had 2 of my relatives die of cancer, but again, it's the best analogy I can give you. Think of it as chemo, and it's gonna suck, but at the end of the day, it does help. So that's the only way we could think of it. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning. We'll catch you guys later for the aftermarket recap. Make sure to hit that like button if you like these videos. I love to do it for you guys. It's always a great time to answer your questions. Thanks again, as always. I can't wait till 4 so I can get some, or 5 after the video, so I can get some sleep. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.